All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Shooting Park Podcast, episode 9. We only had one event this past weekend. We got a few coming up for this upcoming weekend, so I'm going to jump right into it, talk about this past weekend real quick, get into some golf news, PGA Rookie of the Year race, a little bit about Lexi Thompson, as well as the captains for the Ryder Cup are both announced. Ryder Cup's not till 2025, but they just announced both captains for Team USA and Team Europe. So let's start out with the PGA John Deere Classic, TPC Deer Run, Silvis, Illinois. So tied for fifth here, you had Carson Young and Ben Griffin, both at minus 23. You had CT Pan, Michael Thorbjorn, I don't know, and then Luke Clanton, who is an amateur. All tied for second at minus 24, and then Davis Thompson ran away with it at minus 28. He had a dominant performance pretty much throughout the entire tournament. He went 63, 67, 62, 64, respectively, rounds 1 through 4. So he was dominant pretty much the entire tournament. The 62 was awesome, but 63, 64 are also great scores. And the fact that his worst score was still 67, still I think that's 4 under at that course. So it's a hell of a it was a hell of a performance by him, and to go minus 28 through 4 rounds is amazing. So congrats to him on that. Believe it's his first tour win, so cool to see him win that. There was a little thing I saw too on the internet that apparently the last 3 winners of the John Deere Classic all stayed in the same hotel room. So whoever the last 2 winners were, I can't remember their names right now. Apparently those 2 and Davis Thompson all stayed in the same hotel room each year. So really weird coincidence, but that was a little snippet I saw on the internet, so I'm sure you could look it up somewhere. I'm sure it's out there. But let's jump to Luke Clanton here. So he's an amateur, just tied for second at a minus 24. It's impressive. As an amateur, he was consistent the entire tournament. He went 63, 67, 67, 63. So, 2 63s basically sandwiched the 2 67s there. But again, a really, really good performance by him. I will have a little bit more on him later on in the pod, but I just wanted to make sure that I shouted him out here in the beginning because it's a hell of a performance by an amateur to go out there and do that. I know there were a lot of big names missing from this tournament, but it's still impressive to shoot 24 under. And then the best round of the tournament was in the first round, where Hayden Springer shot a 59-12 under. Unfortunately, he ended up shooting a 71 even par in round 2, and then he ended tied for 7th with a 5 under and a 4 under on the weekend, respectively, Saturday, Sunday. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to capitalize on that big first round there, but that's still 59 is a hell of a score. Go 12 under. I don't care what course it is. That's a great score. So congrats to him for that. Again, best round of the tournament. So it was the only tournament on. I think there was some good viewership, but it also was a holiday weekend. So I know I didn't watch a lot of it. I doubt that a lot of people did with the holiday weekend and everything. But again, good on Davis Thompson, Luke Clanton, as well as Hayden Springer for that first round. But let's go ahead. We'll jump into the golf news for this past week. So first thing I wanted to touch on was the PGA Rookie of the Year race. It's basically a 3-horse race at the moment. There's no other candidate really presenting themselves as a formidable contender for these 3 guys. So I'm just going to go through the 3 guys and where they're kind of at as far as scoring wise for this year. So first off, you got Matthew Pavon. He's obviously the favorite at the moment for the Rookie of the Year race. The French native, he won the Farmers Insurance Open, as well as he placed third at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am and finished 12th at the Masters, as well as playing in the final pairing for the final round of the U.S. Open. I can't remember what he ended up in the U.S. Open, but I mean, the fact that he was in the final pairing on the final round, he was obviously up near the top there. So Matthew Pavon has been killing it. He's right now 14th in the FedEx Cup standings, putting him as the clear favorite. I don't think there's another rookie that's that close to him or that close to the top there. So he's clearly the favorite. Next, you have Nick Dunlap. So he had a win at the American Express, which was impressive. But unfortunately, at that time, he wasn't amateur, so he shot a 60 on the third round, tied for the lowest score ever by an AM, which obviously was just beat by Luke Clanton. And would outlast two other competitors to become the first amateur to win a tour event in more than 30 years. So extremely impressive that he won that event. Unfortunately for him, he turned pro just days later, and he's carded his first top 10 finish at the Rocket Mortgage Classic recently. But again, unfortunately, since he was an amateur when he won the American Express, he wasn't awarded the 500 FedEx points. So his cup standings are a little bit lower than probably what they would be. So he's outside of the top 50 at the moment in the FedEx Cup standings, but he easily could be in the top 50 if he would have been awarded those 500 points. But I mean, it's just unfortunate he happened to, turn amateur just days later. Even without those 500 points, he did something that no other AM has done in 3 decades. So, that is a good case for him to still be able to say that he did that and then turn pro. But we'll see what the voters have to say. It'll be interesting. Again, there'll be a little bit of a debate of whether or not those 500 points would have helped him, or if, saying that he won it as an AM and losing those 500 points helped more. So it's up for debate on which one you think would have helped his case a little bit more, but we'll have to wait and see till the end of the year. And then the third and final candidate that's really presented themselves and made themselves into kind of competing with Matthew Pavon is Jake Knapp. Jake Knapp's vibes are universally loved on the tour, as well as his swing on social media. Everyone's watching it. It's a great swing. He won the Mexico Open at Vidanta, finished 4th at the Cognizant Classic, and had a chance to take the CJ Cup at Brian Nelson, but shot a 70 on the final day, dropping him to 8th in that tournament. He is 44th right now in the FedEx Cup, putting him into the playoff, but he'll need a few more top 20 to 15 finishes to really challenge Pavon for that Rookie of the Year. But being in the playoff, gives him an opportunity to show his talents, potentially, jump Pavon at that point in the playoff. If he plays a lot better than Pavon, maybe he jumps him there. But he's universally loved on the tour, and I believe it's tour players and stuff that are voting on this. So he might just get it for, people loving him and being impressed by him so far. But again, same thing could be said for Nick Dunlap and Matthew Pavon, because they've all really impressed. And I think a lot of the tour pros are kind of looking at them as the next grouping here. I think Pavon is a little bit older. I believe he's near 30. So we'll have to see. But those are your three Rookie of the Year candidates. If I were voting at this exact moment, I would say Matthew Pavon. I love his game. He's been very impressive, but I just love the way he plays and everything. So I think, personally, I would vote for him, but my vote doesn't count, so who the hell cares, really? But we'll jump on. We'll jump to Lexi Thompson. Obviously, I'm a big fan of hers. Would love to see her play as much as possible. But unfortunately for us, she dropped from the Amundi Evian Championship, which is a major for the LPGA, coming up this weekend. She's competed in it several times, but she hasn't competed in it since 2019 when she posted some critical comments of the course and everything. Basically, essentially saying that, good shots weren't being rewarded. So basically the quote goes, "I'm actually thankful that I don't have to put myself through that for another 2 days." Which she did miss the cut in 2019, so hence why she was writing this. And then it says, "You're a beautiful place, Evian, but that's just too many bad breaks with good shots for me, so bye." She went on and removed the post almost immediately and posted something else a few hours later, which read, "My words were only directed at my frustrations of not playing well in a major and at the unfortunate bounces we all get while playing this crazy game of golf. I didn't mean it in any way at all. Obviously, just hasn't been the course for me the last few years, but some girls are playing great and I wish them all the best the weekend." She hasn't been back since. And to be honest with you, with her retiring, I don't see her going back. I mean, from what I can see, she hates this course. She's refused to play in a major championship for 5 years now. Maybe 4 years, because I think the 2020 got canceled. So she refused to play in it for 4 years now. She ain't going back ever. So she hates this course with a burning passion. I personally love to see it. I think it's hilarious that she's doing it. I hate that she's not playing, but at the same time, to have that much of a hatred of a course, to refuse to play in a major, is insane. Like, that is a next level pettiness almost, and I love it. Like, I'm all here for it. But unfortunately, we do miss out on her playing, so there is the downfall of that. But with Lexi out this week, we will be getting NELLY quarterback, who is coming back from the dog bite she had a few weeks ago. Has not made the cut in the last 3 tournaments. Basically hasn't been herself since the first round of the U.S. Women's Open, so it's going to be very interesting to see how she comes back from this. I don't know. I'm not going to say the dog bite wasn't real. I mean, I have no idea. I didn't look up pictures. I didn't really Google it that much. I just saw it and believed that she probably got bit by a dog. But, I think if she did get bit by the dog, blessing in disguise. If she used it, she, didn't get bit and she just lied about it and used it as an excuse to have some time off, good on her, because I think she needed to take some time away and she needed to clear her head and she needed to get back to who she was. Because clearly there was something going on in her head after that U.S. Women's Open. So it's going to be interesting to see how she performs at the Evian, especially because she'll be in the group for the USA for the Olympics, which is coming up in a month. So, that's out in France as well. So hopefully she can kind of get her game back here and kind of figure it out. I know she would love to go out there and win gold for the US. So it'll be interesting to see how she comes back from this and to see if she can finally bounce back and have herself a good tournament after 3 basically horrendous showings. So we do get her back. Very exciting. Back to Luke Clanton real quick. So if you're going to go ahead and watch the second PGA event, so there's 2 PGA events this weekend. If you're going to watch the second one, which is, I believe it's like the ISCO. Yeah, the ISCO Championship at Keene Trace Golf Club. I didn't make any picks for this. I only made picks for the Genesis Scottish Open. It's the bigger tournament, more money. But if you're going to go ahead and watch the ISCO, keep an eye out on Luke Clanton. He'll be there. He'll be playing. The kid's been red hot with 2 top 10 finishes in a row recently. And he's the first amateur to do that since Joe Patton in 1958 to have 2 top 10 finishes consecutively. The kid's impressive. He's playing out of his mind right now. So if you're going to watch the ISCO Championship, go watch him. Go see what he's all about. At some point when he gets his tour card and everything, he'll be on the tour for a while, I'm sure. And I'm sure he'll be performing very highly on the tour. So go keep an eye on him if you're going to watch the ISCO event. And then real quick, I'll touch on what I touched on earlier, the 2025 Ryder Cup. So PGA of America announced the U.S. captain today for the 2025 Ryder Cup, which will take place at Bethpage Black in Farmingdale, New York. It's going to be Keegan Bradley. He's the youngest Ryder Cup captain at 39 since a 34-year-old Arnold Palmer did it back in 1963. I think we all know who Arnold Palmer is. So impressive and very well-deserved by him. For Team Europe, it will be Luke Donald as their captain. He served as their vice captain in 2018 and 2021. Obviously, the 2020 got pushed to 2021, so now instead of being on even years, we're on odd years. So he was vice captain those 2 years, and then he was also the captain in the last installment back in 2023 in Rome. So he's been there. He's done it before. This is going to be Keegan's first time being captain for the Ryder Cup, so it's going to be interesting to see. I know a lot of the U.S. Golf Federation, the PGA of America, and everything, they were all wanting Tiger Woods to do it, but he was basically saying no. He kept saying he didn't have the energy, didn't have time and all the mindset to really do it. So he basically refused the captaincy. So it'll be interesting to see how, Keegan's basically going to be received by the team, but on top of that, to see his leadership style. He's a little bit more outgoing, not outgoing, a little bit more fiery, I guess is what I would say. So maybe, that'll give them the spark after a poor showing out there in Rome last time. So maybe it gives them the spark to go ahead and win this thing back on home soil. But we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I think it's going to be in September. I want to say it's like September 22nd through the 25th or 6th up there in Farmingdale, New York. So keep an eye, mark it on your calendar, 2025 Ryder Cup. If you're up in the New York or tri-state area up there, make a little trip to the Bethpage Black. I really don't know where Farmingdale, New York is. I'm assuming it's upstate New York. I'm more familiar with Jersey and PA and the fun states and the good states, not New York. But let's go ahead. We'll move on. We got upcoming events. Again, like I said, we have a ton of them coming up this weekend, so you have a lot of golf that you can go ahead and watch. For the PGA, you have the Genesis Scottish Open, the Renaissance Club, North Berwick, Scotland. The other PGA event is the ISCO Championship, Keene Trace Golf Club, Nicholsville, Kentucky. They'll both be fun tournaments to watch. You get a little bit of everything. So, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on the Genesis Scottish Open personally. I think it'll be a good one. The event that I'm most excited for is the LPGA, the Amundi Evian Championship, Evian Resort Golf Club, Evian Evian Le Bain? I don't speak French. Evian Le Bains, France. It's in France. I don't know where Evian Le Bains is, but somewhere in France. But again, that is a major tournament for the PGA or LPGA. So I'm super excited for this event. Again, we didn't have one last weekend, so didn't really get to watch it. I'm kind of happy we didn't have one because I was, not near my TV pretty much all weekend with it being a holiday. So it'll be fun to be able to sit down and actually watch that event this weekend. And then on top of that, we also have Live Andalusia, Real Club, Valderrama, Andalusia, Spain. So 3 big events all overseas. Genesis, the Amundi Evian Championship, and Live Andalusia. So yeah, nothing really in America outside of the kind of secondary PGA event, the ISCO Championship. So very interesting, but I think it's all 3 organizations are trying to get their golfers over to the European time zones, so that they're going to be closer there for the Live event, for the Olympics coming up. But yeah, those are our 4 events this weekend. So we'll go through the season scoring. Again, we only had one event last weekend, so I'll real quick go through last week's picks. The random person had Jason Day. They got 2 points because he made a top 25 finish. Mark had Eric Cole. He had a top 10 finish, so 4 points for him. I had Sungjae Im, who unfortunately dropped out of the top 10 on the last day. So he had a top 15 finish, got me 3 points. I have 42 for the season. Mark has 46. Random has 33 points. Again, if you don't remember the scoring, it's if the player or team makes the cut, 1 point. Top 25 finish, 2 points. Top 15 finish, 3 points. Top 10 finish, 4 points. Top 5 finish, 5 points. And if you pick the winner, you get 10 points. I haven't picked the winner in a while. I'm hoping that I can pick one this week. So I'll start with the random pick, which was my coworker actually who picked it this week. So he has Ludwig Iberg for the Genesis Scottish Open, Ali Ewing for the Evian Championship, and then Louis Oosthuizen. I really should know how to say that name. I see it so much, I hear it so much, but I can still never say it. Oosthuizen for the Live individual, and then Stinger for the Live team. And then Mark has Colin Morikawa for the Genesis Scottish Open, Ali Ewing for the Evian Championship, Joaquin Niemann for the Live individual, Fireballs for the Live team. I took Hideki Matsuyama for the Genesis, Lilia Vu for Evian Championship, Cam Smith for the Live individual, and Torque for the Live team event. Both of them taking Ali Ewing. I was almost the third. I was so close to picking Ali Ewing. I probably should have. I have a feeling she's going to win, but part of me just, I think Lilia Vu might pull this one out. We'll have to wait and see, though. It's going to be an interesting tournament, but Ali Ewing's been playing well. She was part of the team that I believe won it, or came in second in the most recent tournament for them. So she's been playing well. So it wouldn't shock me if she goes ahead and wins it. I basically flipped a coin between her and Lilia. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully I have a couple of winners there, but you never know how the game's going to play out or anything like that, how the tournament's going to play out. Lexi put it best. You know, sometimes we just get the unfortunate bounces when playing this game of golf. So, you know, it'll be fun to watch this weekend. So go ahead and check out those events. Make sure you check out the LPGA, with it being a major. All the support in the world for them would be awesome. Hopefully out in France they'll pull a lot of fans. I'm sure that the French fans are just as invested, if not more invested, than Americans when it comes to the LPGA. So super excited. That's all I got for you guys this week. I think it's a shorter podcast. I don't know how much time that took, but yeah, just keep an eye out for some little snippets on Instagram, TikTok. Go follow the Instagram, the Shooting Par Podcast, TikTok, the Mayor Golf Academy / Shooting Par Podcast. And then obviously on YouTube, like, follow, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.